Alright, welcome back to ShoeTube, and today we are discussing the latest installation in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Doctor Strange. And yeah, I was definitely looking forward to this movie. Big fan of the character, have been since I was a little kid. And I remember when they mentioned Stephen Strange in Captain America the Winter Soldier and in the theater, just being like, yes, he's in the universe. So yeah, was very excited for this one. Just the stuff, the poster coming out, just the look of the character. I really thought they nailed the costume. Mr. Cumberbatch definitely looked the part, and I thought he did a great job in the movie. So, about a couple weeks back, October 10th, I believe was the date, got to go see an IMAX 3D preview. It was like 15 minutes of the movie, and they really highlighted the IMAX 3D-ness of it, because visually, my mind was blown. This was like nothing I've ever experienced in the theater before. Just completely blown away. And normally, I wouldn't spend the extra money on the IMAX 3D. I walked out of that little preview just going, oh, just take the money, take the money. And actually was very pleased to get a $10 IMAX 3D ticket yesterday afternoon at an AMC theater. So, very cool. That was unexpectedly cheap. So, totally worth it, okay? I actually saw it in 2D on Friday, and if you don't like the 3D thing, it's cool. 2D is pretty damn intense, too. Yes, visually, this movie is an accomplishment. It is definitely incredible how they brought to life the landscapes that Steve Ditko drew back in the 60s. The psychedelic, just trippy imagery, so cool. They really nailed the look of the book and the feel of the book. It was super, super cool as a fan of the comic. And yeah, it is an origin story, okay? I know we're all kind of sick of origin stories in general, but I think a lot of that has to do with we've seen the Batman origin so many times, the Superman origin so many times, the Spider-Man origin so many times. We've never seen the Doctor Strange origin on the big screen, and I think it's great. The changes that they make from the comic is really more along the lines of the characters, like the Ancient One, the portrayal of the Ancient One, and of course the casting of Tilda Swinton was very controversial because the Ancient One traditionally portrayed as a very old Asian man, and Tilda Swinton is not very old and not very Asian, but I thought she was awesome. I thought the way they wrote the character was really cool. I thought it was great. The Wong character, a little different from the books as well. But I thought the change was definitely for the better, and he was responsible for a lot of the laughs in the movie. There are a lot of laughs in the movie. I thought the humor was good, but definitely balanced. It wasn't too jokey, so I thought they really nailed that note. As far as the villain goes, Caecilius. Caecilius was, for me, fine. It totally worked, and I didn't feel like I needed more backstory on him. I thought they told me what I needed to know, and his goals were relatively well laid out, so yeah, I got no problems with that. And again, this is an origin story, so it's really more about the hero. So that's the way it works. Also, wanted to point out the sound design in this movie is fantastic. And that's something you don't always think about, but sound plays a big part in making the unreal seem really real. And this totally worked. Those guys nailed it. I can say on a technical level, I've never seen anything like it. Definitely a movie that is made to be seen in IMAX 3D, but if you can't see it in IMAX 3D, don't let that discourage you. It's definitely a movie to be seen in any theater that you can. Go to the drive-in and see this movie because it is a visual treat. So definitely recommend this very highly to you. If you want to know more about Doctor Strange, if you want to maybe read some comics, check out some other stuff, you can't go wrong with the old Stan Lee, Steve Ditko books. There was a more recent book called The Oath that was written by Brian K. Vaughan, and I believe the art was by Marcos Martin. That one was really good, and the tone of that book definitely played a part in, I think, the way they portrayed the character in the movie. So that's kind of cool. One of my favorite comics of Doctor Strange is actually another Origins take, an origin tale, and it's called Strange. It was a Marvel Knights miniseries, came out in 2004, written by J. Michael Straczynski and Sam Barnes, art by Brandon Peterson. If you've seen the movie, this will look pretty familiar, just kind of cool. They definitely brought some comic images and cool props stuff that Doctor Strange uses. The Wanda Watum is seen. You know, Wong is brandishing that late in the flick. Of course, the Eye of Agamotto, the Cloak of Levitation, the way that he casts his spells. Just, man, the Ditko art brought to life just exquisitely. So if you're a fan of the comic, definitely go see this movie. Enjoy. If you've not known about Doctor Strange, I think this is a great way to get introduced to the character. They also did animated movie a couple years back. As I recall, I enjoyed this. I haven't watched it in ages. Wondering if it's going to hold up next to the live action, because they just so nailed the live action. Kind of funny, they did a cartoon Iron Man movie a couple years before the Iron Man movie came out with Robert Downey Jr., and watching it after the live action, it was just like, oh god, this is just terrible. This is wrong. So I'm hoping that the Doctor Strange animated holds up, compared to the live action. So anyway, if you have any thoughts about the movie, you can feel free to leave them in the comments below. Thank you once again for checking in. If you like what you hear, if you want to hear more, like the video, subscribe, share it with your friends, and thanks again for checking in to YouTube.